Okay, we are good. So, Teach Smarter with Canva Code. This is the first edition of our monthly series, the TeachSmart with AI monthly series. And for this May edition, our focus is on Teach Smarter with Canva Code, how you can create interactive learning materials without having to code. So if you don't know how to code, Canva Code has got you. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Blessing Iroha. I am the founder of TeachSmart Nigeria. I used to be a chemistry teacher, and I'm a wife, a mother, and a Canva certified trainer. If you search for me on LinkedIn, you will find me there. I'm on Facebook, on Instagram. I'm also on Twitter and TikTok, but not very active. But I'm actively on LinkedIn and Facebook. All right, so why did we decide to start this monthly series activity? I forgot to mention what we do at TeachSmart. We equip educators with practical digital and AI skills to help them create engaging lesson learning materials. That's what we do at TeachSmart. And so for this monthly series, we decided to launch. The reason is because we do understand that teaching is very demanding. In fact, it is more demanding today because you're expected to do a lot of things. You're expected to prepare lessons faster. You're expected to know how to use digital tools. You're expected to keep students engaged. You're expected to deliver quality learning. And most of the time, you do these things manually. But these days, we have AI. And the truth is that we cannot, stop technological advancement, because I see a lot of teachers argue about the use of AI. You cannot stop AI. AI is actually here to stay. And there's no reason to be afraid of using AI or even be afraid of AI. The truth is that AI is not replacing anyone, but those AI will replace are actually those who don't know how to use it. I keep saying that AI is just a tool. It's just a tool like you use your calculator in the days, in our days in secondary school, you use calculator, even the university, you use calculator to, do some calculations. It is just a tool. That's how I want us to see AI. AI is just a tool to help you do your work faster, to help you prepare your lesson plans faster, to help you work smarter, to reduce your workload. And that's exactly why we designed this monthly series, to help you work smarter using the tools you already know, which is AI. And for some persons who are familiar with AI, you may have, because I saw your responses in the form that you filled when you were registering for this session. Some of you are familiar with Canva already. You're familiar with ChatGPT. You're familiar with Gemini. You use those tools. You use them because they save you time. And when you have enough time saved, you focus on the main teaching, which is what is important. You teach when you save a lot of time from preparation. Now, before now, for myself, I designed in Canva. Before now, it could take me like days to come up with a concept, to come up with a good design. But these days with AI, I get to do them faster. In fact, I became more AI tools. And that's exactly what you should be doing as a teacher. Let me admit some persons so we can proceed. Once you join us, just type in your name in the chat and where you're joining us from so that we get to know each other. All right, so we designed this monthly series to help you know how to use AI in your classroom. Not just knowing AI, not just knowing the AI. There are so many AI tools. And the truth is that the more every day AI tools are being released, and if you are not careful, you find yourself downloading more tools than you actually need. So the essence of this monthly series is to show you the tools that you actually need for your classroom, not just showing you, but how you can use them in your classroom. So this session, like I mentioned earlier, is focused on Canva Code. So we're going to see what Canva Code is, how you can work with Canva Code, and how you can actually use it for teaching. So this is not a Canva course. This is just, we are focusing on just one tool. There are so many things to learn in Canva. We have the Canva Magic Write, so many AI tools in Canva, but our major focus for this session is Canva Code. But I'm open to answering any other question when it's time for other Canva feature. But for now, for this session, our focus is Canva Code. So what exactly is Canva Code? It is an AI-powered tool that allows educators and students to generate custom interactive classroom widgets without having any programming knowledge. So you don't need to be a programmer. You don't need to know HTML. You don't need to know JavaScript. You don't need to know Python to be able to create something with Canva Code. The only thing you need is to have an idea. What is it that you want to create? If you're able to put your idea down with Canva inside the prompt, just write it. What is it that you want? What is it that you want to create? What you want to create? What do you want it to be able to do? What should people using it be able to use it for? If you have this in place, you just type it in, and then Canva Code will give you an output. That's just what it is. It's the same way you interact with your ChatGPT, your Google Gemini. It's similar. It is conversational, just like you having a conversation with your colleague, with your partner, just like that. Just you speak in your own normal language, your English language, type it in, and Canva Code will, give you an output. How does it work? Like I mentioned earlier, you just give it a prompt, and then it goes to work for you. You give it the instruction you want, and then at the end of the day, if it gives you an output, you refine it. You refine it, modify it, and then go back. It goes back to, give another output. You keep modifying until it gives you the exact thing you're looking for. And interestingly, like I mentioned in the WhatsApp platform, it is a good time that we are having this conversation now that Canva has had an upgrade. Although unfortunately for some persons, they still do not have access to Canva, the upgraded version of Canva Code. But that's not a problem, because whatever I'm going to show you today, even if you're still using the old version, you should be able to still create something out of it. It's just that it is a lot easier with the newer version. So you can also customize whatever you create with Canva Code. You can do it manually. You can change the font. You can increase the font size. You can change the color, just how you want it. And also you can connect your Canva sheet to your Canva Code. So whatever it produces, you want the students who are using the tool that you created with using the Canva Code, you can connect your Canva Code to your Canva sheet so that you see who is using it, how they are using it, the performance. And also, whatever you create in Canva Code, with Canva Code, you can share it with your students as a standalone website. You share it with them, and they are able to, use it. Let me admit more persons. I think we have more persons here. So whatever you create with Canva Code, you can share as a standalone website. You can also embed it anywhere. Let's say you have a WordPress website or any other website. You created a website with Lovable or any other tool, and you want your Canva creation to be there. People should be seeing whatever you created in Canva in that tool. You can also connect, you can also embed it. That's your website. You can also, if you have a classroom, a Google Classroom, where you have your students, you're hosting your students. So I was saying that, I know my network was interrupted. So I was saying that I understand the uniqueness of our educational system. Not so many schools have access to smart boards, smart system, but you as a teacher, you will always find a way to share whatever you create with your students. You can send them the link, and then even at home, they can interact with whatever you create. And for those of you who have, students you teach online, this is very useful to you as well. So I think I mentioned that this is not a theory class. We are going to actually do the practical, so you see how it works. But before then, let's see the key benefits of using Canva Code, how does it benefit you as an educator? You can easily design custom quizzes, you can design games, you can design interactive activities that match your exact teaching goal. So whatever you have an idea for, you can just create it without, you know, even though you don't have any programming knowledge, you can just create it with Canva Code in a matter of minutes. And then you're saving enough time for yourself. So instead of searching endlessly for resources to create exactly what you need, with Canva Code, you just prompt and then you have your output. And whatever you create will also make your students active participants, because now they have something they're interacting with. I mentioned when we started that students are easily distracted these days, and you know, there's so many things to distract them. There's technology to distract them, and for you as a teacher, your duty is to keep them engaged. And the more the more they have these kind of tools to interact with, the more engaged and active participants they become. And also with Canva Code, you can create your tool to align to any curriculum. If you're working with a Nigerian curriculum, you can align your tool with a Nigerian curriculum. If you're working with that of US or UK, you can create something that fits any curriculum at all using Canva Code. And lastly, I'll keep mentioning that you don't need to be a programmer to use this. You just need to know how to type in your plain language and it's to work for you. So we are going to begin the demo. Please mute yourself once you're here, mute yourself. So I need to share my other screen so you will see how we're going to, how this works. So the first thing we are going to create is a quiz show game. I shared this on WhatsApp a couple of days ago. And this is more like, this kind of quiz works like the popular show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So the aim of this is to help grade 8 students revise their basic science subject on the topic human digestive system. That's what we are going to create, and you will see exactly how it works. So I'll copy this code, this prompt, and then use it in my Canva code. I'll need to stop sharing this screen and then share my window so you see. I hope you are following. If you are following, just type yes in the chat so I'll be sure I'm not talking to myself alone. All right. So I'm going to pause this screen and share my window so that all right, so this is the new way that Canva has, last month there was Canva Create, so Canva had an upgrade. So if you don't see Canva code like this on your screen, it means you're still using the older version. So, but I'm going to use, like I mentioned earlier, what we are going to create works both in the older and the newer version. It's just that it's a lot easier with the newer version because you get to have a bit of control of what is being produced. For those of you who are on Canva Edu account, for you to access Canva code, you need to go to more. So it's a bit different from this. I'm using my Canva Pro account. So if you're using your Canva Edu account, just go to more. The first app you will see here will be Canva AI. If you click on Canva AI, then you'll be able to select code because what you're creating is, you're using Canva code to create what you want. So I'm just going to click on my code and then get my prompt. copy this prompt, and then it's still loading. So while it's loading, let me show you what we're about to create, what it can do. Okay, so this is what we will be creating. So this is a quiz on human digestive system. It's a basic science topic. So we want our students, our JS2 students, to be able to revise that topic. We have taught it, you have taught it as a teacher, you just finished teaching them basic science, human digestive system, and you want them to revise it ahead of the exam. You can create something like this quiz. You can either you want to grade it or it's up to you, but it's just for them to practice. You want them to practice memory. Let me share the screen again. It was interrupted. Okay, so what we want to create, I mentioned we are creating a quiz, and the goal for this quiz is to help our students in JS2 revise a topic in basic science, and the topic is human digestive system. So I'm just going to go ahead to describe my idea here. I already copied the prompt. I'll just insert it here. So it is generate a quiz show game format, and the format is Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And the goal is to help my students revise basic science the basic science on the topic human digestive system. So this is our prompt. I'm just going to go ahead to submit it. And then while that is coding, while it is doing its work, let me show you the one I did earlier. So this is the code. This is the game, the quiz game. So how it works is that the students will start the game and then start answering questions related to the subject, to the topic on that particular subject. So these are the questions. Once the student answers the question, they move on to the next and then continues like that until final. So once they hit if they get to 32,000, the app will show them that they just won 32,000 and then continue until they get to the last. So this is the first edition, the first version of this code. Now, I told us that it is conversational. You ask it to create something, it comes out with an output. If you don't like it, you can always adjust. So this is what I asked it to do the second time. This is the first version. So it's produced this, and then I came back. I said, I want to be able to track students who participated in the game. So it should be able to connect my quiz to a Canva sheet on the back end so that I can see my students' name and their performance. So it came back with this second version. So this is the second version. Now, students will have to type in their name before they even begin answering questions. So let's see if it has finished the one we are creating. So it's still coding. Let's give it a little more time. So it says we are working on your code, hang tight, it will be ready soon. So we'll hang in there. So while that is also going, the next one we will be creating is a cooperative learning activity. But I think we should wait for this to be ready until, okay, I think it's done. So let's see. So you see that this is different from the one that I created earlier. So this one is you just start the game and you see the interface, the design, the UI design is quite different. So this is it. And this one is even easier, it's even better because you can decide to walk away I didn't have walk away option in the previous quiz. So it has created this. I can go back and say, okay, can you connect this to my Canva code, my Canva sheet? I want to track my students. I want to see the name of anyone participating in this game. So let's do that. So you see that you keep modifying until you achieve whatever you want for your tool. So I'm just going to say, I want to track my students when they okay, just say my students performance. Can you connect to a Canva sheet? To a Canva sheet. Students must enter their names before starting the game. So this is what I want. It will just go back and add whatever I've asked it to do. So I want students to first add their name before they commence the game. Now you can share this. I mentioned that you can share this as a website. You can, share this, publish it as a website, password it with Canva. You can password the website, share it with your students. They can, they can play the game even while at home or anywhere else outside the school environment. So you don't actually necessarily mean they can play, but if you have the necessary infrastructure in your school, they can of course play this in their computer lab. So it has added the name entry screen. It will add the name entry screen and then save students' results to a Canva sheet. That's what it's going to do next. Let's see if more persons are here to be admitted. So if you have any question, you can drop it in the chat while this demo is going on. And by the way, you're going to give me an idea. We're just going to demonstrate two following. Just type yes in the chat.
Sorry, I'm raising my hand. I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so thank you so much. This has been very beautiful. But what I want to know is how do we get to see, like, let's say different students get to take the test? Is it possible to also get to see their grades, and how do we go about that? If you can show.
That's why thank you so much. That's why I connected this to a Canva sheet. So once the student answers any question, let me show you the previous one. Okay, let's see if this one has finished. Okay, we can work with this. Let's see the second version. So you see that I asked, the first version didn't have where students will enter their name so that we know the student that has, answered the questions. So the second version now has the option. So students enter their name before commencing the game. So let's say student A is, let's use Favor. Okay, so the next game the next activity we want to create is this jigsaw cooperative learning. So how this works is that, let's say you're a social studies teacher, you have just finished teaching them transportation. You want to know how well your students understand the topic, or you want them to actually, have a deeper understanding of the topic. You can create this kind of activity. You divide your student. Once you're done creating this activity, you divide your students into 4 groups. Each of them will have a topic based on whatever you taught them. So for this case now, we have different subtopics. We have road transport, we have water, we have rail, we have air. So your students, every student in your class has a topic, has one of these 4 topics. So you divide them into groups, and then each of the students that have, okay, let's say a student has this topic, road transport. The students will join the other students that have the same topic. They form an expert group. So all the road transport subtopic are in the same group. They are experts in road transport. And then we have experts in rail transportation. And all of these experts will go ahead to study these subtopics. Once they discuss about this, they study it, they master it, then the other group master this one. And then each of these group, once they are done with their group, once they are done studying, they'll just mark as studied. And then this one will mark also just like that. And then they will now return to the previous group, which is the mixed group, where they have people with different subtopics. And then each of them will now teach the group their own topic. I am railway, I teach on railway. This one will teach on air. This other one will teach on water, just like that. So that way they understand the topic transportation better. So we're going to create something similar. And then they also have quiz to answer, where they will test their knowledge, and they will enter their name to answer this quiz. The students will enter their name, start the quiz, and then you as a teacher will see, once you click on this data, you're able to see the name of the student. There's also a dashboard. So once the students are during the dashboard, just Canva code. Let me also show you the amount of time it took me. It just took me about two prompting to arrive at this. So this is the first prompt, and this is exactly the same prompt we are going to use to create this activity. So let me show you. So I'm going to go back to my home and then click on Canva Code so we can start a fresh activity. Here I can enter my prompt, and then go ahead and so create a jigsaw cooperative learning activity for the topic. Okay, I think someone said she has not been admitted, but I can't see. Okay, sorry. All right, let's give it a little time. It's coding. So everything you create here, you can always connect it to a sheet so that you will see, you always want to track your students to see that they're actually participating in whatever you produced and gave them to, interact with. There's so much you can create with, but let me also show you something else. Let me also show you something else that I used Canva Code, why this is working. So this is a chemistry lab, and I created this to help students, simulate an experiment. So the student will have to enter their name. Let's use Favor Carlo, which is the name I used earlier. So this is separation technique. If you're a chemistry student, you should be familiar with this. It's an SS1 topic, and I want my students to be able to understand how this works. So the first one is filtration. And filtration, how it works for this simulation, you just take the filter paper from here. You move this filter paper. place it in this funnel, and it sits there. The next thing is to proceed to pour your mixture, and the mixture goes in. And then once the mixture is done pouring in, it will give you an explanation of what just happened or what filtration is. And then you as a student will also answer the question, what is left behind, just like that. And when you're done, it gives you the next question automatically. Once you answer the first question, you like to move on with the second question and proceed to see a feedback. It gives you an instant feedback, and then you return to the dashboard and then go ahead with the second experiment. So these are all separation technique for SS1 students. You can create for any class, SS2, any other topic, whether it's physics, biology. You can have a virtual lab. If you are a school owner, you can create something like this for your students. They can have access to it while in the school or even when they go home. You publish it as a website, give them access to it so they can practice this. This is actually good. Even if you have a physical lab, you can also create something like this. Students cannot go home with your lab experiment and with your lab tools. So they can use this to simulate what it looks like, what it looks like. And even if you don't have a fully functional laboratory, you can create a virtual lab and then they simulate and see actually how all of these things are done. But unfortunately, we are not creating this today. So let's go ahead. Let's go back to see okay, it is done. Our jigsaw. You see that this one is even a lot better than the one I created earlier. So this one will give you, this one gives an explanation of what each of the subtopics are. So the group can go ahead to answer and then, click on done when they are done. And there's a timer as well. Once you start, you proceed. Once you're done with the group, then they move on to the next, which is to teach their groups. And after that, the next phase is the next phase is teaching. Once they are done studying this, the next phase is teaching. After interactive tool with the quiz we created earlier. So it's just similar way. You give it a prompt, it goes to work, comes back, you review what it's produced. If there's an adjustment you want to make, you can always prompt it again to make the adjustment. And that's it. So let's admit one more person. All right, so I think I'm done with that. If there's any question, I'd like to take on your question right now. Any question? You can unmute yourself and ask.
Hello.
Okay, Asonge, I think I'm comfortable with calling you Asonge. Just hold on for Edith. Edith, go ahead.
All right. Good morning, Madam Lisa. Thanks for the insight. I appreciate. But there's
Edith,
something
you can go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Speaking already. There's something I want to get cleared with this canvas, use of the canvas. So when you just open your canvas page, the next thing you have to do is to give your prompting, right? Though I wasn't here at the beginning, that's why I'm asking to know the first stage to do when you are creating using your Canva. So the first thing is to give your prompting, right? Then after
The
that,
first what?
it displays. The first step to do is to log on to your canvas. Then you give your prompting whatsoever you want to do. Is that correct?
The first step is once you open your Canva account.
Yes,
can you hear me?
I can.
Once you open your Canva account, you go to, if you're using a Canva Edu account, just go to more, you will see Canva AI. Just open the interface and then insert your prompt. Ensure that you select code. But if you're using a Canva Pro like I am using, once you open your Canva account, you will see code. you'll see code, and then click on code. It will take you, it will open up an interface where you will, be able to, let me just demonstrate that for the benefit of some other person who might have similar question. So I'm going to share my screen again. My home screen. So this is what my screen looks like. This is the code here. If you're using a Canva Pro account, you will see this. But if you are using a Canva Edu account, you just need to go to more. The first icon, the first tool you will see here will be Canva AI. Just click on it, and then it will bring you to somewhere like this kind of interface here, and then you insert your prompt. But ensure that you always select code. If you want to code anything, just ensure that you're selecting code, and then you go ahead to, code whatever it is that you want to create. Any other question?
Meaning the code automatically displays on the interface.
Yes.
Okay.
It will just open up where you can insert your prompt.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other? Asonge, yeah, you're welcome. Asonge.
Good morning, ma.
Good
Good morning,
morning.
everyone. Thank you very much, ma, for this wonderful class. I think I'm over 6 years working with Canva, but I don't even really pay attention to the Canva code or whatsoever, though I does a lot of programming with Python and other programming languages. But I have not paid attention to the Canva code. And I think you have impacted my knowledge with this, because I teach children from 4 to 12 years Python programming. And most times, if I want to set some kind of test questions for them while teaching, then I normally, most times I use, should I say Google? I use Google. I use Google in setting their questions. But this one that you just introduced me to Canva and my experience with Canva, I know that what you have done today is not a small deal, but a very big one. And it will lessen my stress
Thank
going
you.
to Google to set questions. I will do it rightly here. And there's something you made mention, the simulation, separation of,
Okay.
I'm not a science person. I'm considering
Uh,
a program with a universities. I've called the academic planning officer about job simulation, because I discovered that most graduates are jobless because they don't have a pre-knowledge of how things are done in the workspace. Even though they graduated with good grades, first class, second class up, and all of that, they are not been exploring. They have been still kind of finding very difficult to get that job. And I've discussed this with one university, which they welcome the idea of job simulation, and I'm very, very serious about it. And with what you just showed me, while you were creating the code and whatsoever, I test run something and it was wow. Yes, I test run something and it was wow. And I'm saying thank you very much for this. You did not just help me, but you are helping generation, because I don't hide ideas with me. I make sure I shared whatsoever I have learned, just like you are doing to us. Because in the next 100 years, I will not be on earth again. So why will I be hiding knowledge? So thank you very much for this wonderful section, and I pray that may the good Lord bless you and give you the strength to learn and share more. Thank you very much.